Votes Eric Flynn.
We're starting. Dragon Con was nice enough to allow us to host the. We have this convention once a year for fans of 1632 series, and the first 5 years we held it on site. Well, not in Mannington, in Fairmont, West Virginia, close to the town of Mannington, which is the actual model for Granville. After 5 years, because about 2/3 of people who came were sort of regulars, and there's honestly only so many times you can visit Mannington, West Virginia. Now, it's a nice little town, but it's a town of 3,500 people. It's just, there is literally not.
Two's count the over/under.
There's not one motel in that town. You actually have to stay in Fairmont. So what we've done since then is every year it moves around the country, and we have a different convention hosting it. Next year it's going to be hosted in Chicago at the WorldCon. The WorldCon's agreed to host it. So I live in the Chicago area and happen to be on very good terms with people who run WindyCon. So Chicago WorldCon's hosting it next year. Last year it was Nashville. We've had it in Avacon, Conestoga, WesterCon.
I'm not out in Arizona.
That was
WesterCon.
And I don't know where we'll go after next year. We try to move it around the country. Now, this we've got, I think, a total of about a dozen panels. It's running all through today, tomorrow, and Sunday.
Monday.
Monday too, yeah. I myself will have to be leaving. I will do the first one on Monday, which is Snarking the Plots. What that is everyone is sworn to silence who comes to that one. I will tell you what's going to be happening in upcoming books in the series. So if you don't want spoilers, don't come to it. That'll be 10 o'clock Sunday. Then I will have to leave because I've got an early flight out. There's 2 more sessions after that. The program has me for one of them. I won't be here. Now, I did not program this whole program. She did. If I programmed them, we would be starting on a solemn 2 hours on the overall arching, theme of the 6032 series.
He neglects to mention that I can't tie him down that long.
And instead, we're going to start with chocolate. A low attempt to pull in customers, but in that spirit, I'm going to pass these out once. Just everybody take one. What this is I do about once a year a seminar with Kevin Anderson, Brandon Sanderson, who is a fantasy writer, and he's finishing Wheel Time series. Dave Wolverton, who most of you may know, and he's better known under his pen name of Dave Barland, and Rebecca Mosta. The 5 of us do a 3-day seminar. This is a seminar you pay to come to. It's not freebie. But what it is it's a seminar on the business of being a writer. It's not a seminar on how to write. We sort of basically say, we'll take your word for it, you can write well enough to be a pro. What we will do is spend 3 days teaching everything we know about how the business works. So you have a practical idea of what to expect and where to go from there. If anyone wants to talk to them, by the way, Kevin and Keren have been to 2 of these already. And so they can tell you what it's like if you want to talk to them. And David also. All right, and these are just little bookmarks will give you information. So you can just pass them around, and that'll be the last time I have a body about this. But I promised Kevin, who is way more in promotion than I am, that I would pitch it here. And I'm doing it so far. All right, and with no further ado, and I will warn you, it starts really bitter because this was nasty stuff when it first emerged.
So headed to the most bitter woman in the room. All right, my name is Keren Evans. I write for the Grantville Gazette. That's how I got my SIFWA card, writing for the Grantville Gazette. I haven't yet seen any of my writing on paper. Everything has been electronic. So, but the first thing I wrote, I had read some of the, Kevin was a big fan, and I read some of it, and I had started thinking about chocolate. And I'd read 1632, and I'd read 1633, and I began wondering, what are they going to do about chocolate? Because whatever they brought with them is all they have. Okay? When they land in Germany, there is no chocolate. There is none. Okay? So whatever Nestle's bag of chips that you have in your kitchen, that's it. All right? Because there's no little store in town, okay, that has the chocolate bars. So I went in and I researched it and I wrote an article about chocolate. It's called the Theobroma Shell Game, and it's in 13. 13? 15.
15.
He knows. I don't care. Okay. Karen,
It's important because we just finished publishing Grantville Gazette number 37.
37. We do 6 a year, and we've just done 37. So this was
A while ago.
This was a while ago, but I wrote the article, and basically I researched chocolate and sugar and vanilla. In the part of Germany where Grantville lands, there are none of those. Well, they have a little bit of sugar coming in trickles, but it's very expensive. Okay, so if you're going to make chocolate, you're going to have an uphill road to climb. Okay, first of all, I found this book. This is The True History of Chocolate by Sophie D. Coe. Her husband's name is on it also because what she did is she went all over the world and went in and looked at the archaeology all the way back to the Olmecs to find out where chocolate came from and how we have dealt with it. And then she had all of her notes together all the way up into modern history, and she died. So her husband pulled all those notes together and published the book. That's why his name is on it. He didn't really write any of it, but so, you know, if you want to know about chocolate as much as I have found out about chocolate, this is the book to go to because she really knows. This is the book that the New York chefs are reading to find out about chocolate. Rick is here! Yay, Rick! Okay, so that's why that's here. I didn't write it. You've talked to Tony because you have a hat.
I talked to Mike, or Jim.
Jim?
Anyway.
Either way.
Hi.
All right, so in order to get from nothing to Hershey's, all right, it's quite a process. First of all, we have to talk about cocoa beans. They come from a tree called Theobroma, which is it Greek or is it Latin? Greek for food of the gods, okay? The trees grow pods about this big, about that size, or a little bit bigger, that come off the trunk of the tree. They don't grow on limbs or anything, they're on the trunk of the tree. They're either green, yellow, or orange. And you take that pod, and if you cut it in half, the stuff inside is white, okay? If you eat it, it tastes kind of like a fruity flavor, and there are big beans about the size of big fava beans or a lima bean. That's the cocoa bean. Does not taste like chocolate when it's fresh, okay? Does not. It tastes like, you know, a light tropical fruit, okay?
It's very good.
It is very good. I have tasted a little bit of it. You can't really find them easily unless you go to Hawaii or Mexico or somewhere they're growing, okay, because they don't transport well. So they take the beans out. It's called fermenting. What that means is they take the beans and the pulp out and they kind of put it in a pile and then let the sun on it and it rots. That's how the chocolate flavor gets into the beans, because it comes from the fruit. If you just took those beans out and roasted them automatically, they wouldn't taste like anything, okay? So you've got to ferment them, and then after you ferment them, you roast them. When you roast them, they break into little bits inside the shell, inside of the little bean shell, and that's where you get cocoa nibs. Okay? I like cocoa nibs. They taste like chocolate, but they're bitter, you know, and crunchy. So this is the kind of chocolate that the Aztecs and the Olmecs had. And they would grind it up on, you know, you've seen those stone grinders, and they put heat underneath it because there is so much cocoa fat in these that if you don't heat it up, you don't grind it, it just sticks to everything. Okay?
It's a lot like peanut butter. I've tried.
It is. He tried it in a coffee grinder. We can't use that coffee grinder. Okay? Had to go buy a new coffee grinder. But that's the cocoa nibs. They're good. You know, you can taste one. You get cocoa flavor. Not anything like this. Okay? So that's what the Aztecs have. The Spanish show up. Here's Cortez looking for gold. And they come out and say, well, we have this drink that only the priests and the king can drink. But you are a white man with a beard, and you might be a god, so here, have some of this. Cortez says, that's nice, what is it? And they said, cacao. The Spanish said, what did you say?
It has an unfortunate.
And it's kind of a, weird brown color and it's foamy. Okay? They
You
wouldn't
can
try it.
imagine where his mind went then.
They wouldn't try it. The first time they were offered, they wouldn't drink it. But they watched all these priests, and they drank it, and nobody threw up. Nobody seemed to have, weird diseases. Right? So the next time they brought it out, they said, all right, wait, they try it. Well, what the Indians had done is they take their nibs and grind them up and put in some things that they had around, like vanilla and chilies, and so it was not sweet. Okay, it was bitter, like coffee, and spicy. Okay, coffee with jalapenos in it. And then they would foam it up. What the Aztecs did is they had cups and they'd pour it from a height like this until it foamed up. In other words, what they're trying to do is emulsify the fat into the whole thing, and the foam is important. So that's what the Aztecs had. Well, so the Spaniards kept coming, and New Spain is built in Mexico City, which had been the capital of the Aztecs, right? And all of the ladies that came with the conquistadors, and they built the cathedral, and all of the ladies there decided, hey, this chocolate stuff isn't bad, but we're going to have sugar in it. Okay, so they'd still grind it up, and they put cinnamon in it, and they put, nutmeg was a big thing there because they had to ship it all the way from the Far East, or things like that. They would put those things in it and sugar, and it became so addictive that they couldn't sit all the way through Mass without their chocolate. Okay, so they'd be sitting there, the bishop is pontificating, the back door's open, in come this whole string of little maids running with little cups to bring their ladies chocolate so they could survive all of Mass. The bishop stood up and said, I'm going to excommunicate anyone who drinks chocolate.
During the
Well, he just said, who drinks chocolate? And the governor talked him down and said, if you want anyone to come to Mass, you have to just tell them, you have to last all the way through Mass, because if that door opens, I'm excommunicating you. But it became that popular. It was more popular than tea in England or coffee in Turkey. It was that popular. So of course it made it to Spain. By now it's like 1580. Okay, it takes a while for it to get popular in Spain, but when they've spent their 2 or 3 years in New Spain and they come back, they're not going to live without their chocolate, so they bring it with them. Now by that time, you can buy this in the store. This, by the way, is called Lucre. It's the Mexican chocolate. You go to the world market or any Mexican market, and you can find this or a couple of other brands. And this is what it looks like. You break off a piece, you put it in hot water in a big pitcher, you take your molinillo, which is a wooden whisk, and you whisk it up until it's frothy, okay? And that's what they're drinking. This is what chocolate looks like in Europe in 1630. And I'm going to pass a piece of this
Put it in
around.
the glass.
Yeah.
This was dropped on the floor.
Get another one.
Okay.
Tell them it's better when it's ground.
You don't want to bite it, it's very hard, okay? This is not Hershey's. You can listen to this, don't bite it, but smell it. It smells really good. That's chocolate in 1630. This is what they get. We can pass 2 pieces around if you want. I have a lot of it.
And it's not like there's anything else you can do with it. Because you can't
eat
this
it.
stuff.
This is kind of like eating Swedish cheese.
What, there is sugar in it?
Here. There is sugar in it, there is cinnamon.